Welcome to the Superbook Show. On today's bizarre Bible bite, we see what happens when Jesus goes mano a mano with a tree. Huh. Maybe that should be mono a trio. This incident is told in the Gospel of Mark. Now, Jesus and his main men, the disciples, are on their way to Jerusalem. Jesus turns and says, "I'm kind of hungry. Y'all want to get a bite to eat?" And the disciples are like, does he know there's not a Mickey D's in the area? And in the distance, Jesus spots a fig tree. Figs? I love figs. And heads over to the tree. And the disciples are like, does he know that figs aren't in season? But remembering the mega meal thing with the fish and bread, they get ready to see a miracle. But rather than a miracle, when they get to the tree, Jesus is a wee bit ticked. "There are just leaves," he says. And the disciples are like, "Oh, wrong season?" And Jesus says, "They're just leaves. No figs, just leaves." Now, Jesus was not about to let this go. Now, imagine for a second that you're hungry and you really want some ding-dongs. So you go to the vending machine, but when you get there, you find there's no ding-dongs. So you start griping. And your friend is like, dude, that's a Pepsi machine. There's no ding-dongs in there. And so, you're like, oh, right, I knew that. And that would be that. But not Jesus. He said, "Never again shall anyone eat fruit from this tree." And he curses the tree. The tree! And the tree shriveled up and died. Yikes. So what's this all about? I'll be honest, when I first read this in the Bible, I was confused. So I went to some commentaries. Oh, commentaries are books written by theologians commenting on the Bible. Yeah, I know, not a very imaginative title. But these experts are saying that this fig story is a parable. Oh, you know parables. It's a story with a moral ending. Kind of like the lost son or the Good Samaritan. So the fig tree is a parable, except instead of telling the story, Jesus lived it out. So what does the parable of the cursed fig tree mean? Well, to understand this, we have to know a little bit about agriculture or tree farming. Now, the disciples were pretty savvy, and at least one of them knew that when leaves grew on a fig tree, there were supposed to be fruit. Little baby not ready to eat yet figs. But when leaves blossomed on a tree and there were no little baby figs, that meant that the tree wasn't going to produce figs all year, even when the season came about. So here's what scholars are saying that Jesus was showing his disciples and us. The tree represents people, more specifically followers of God. And the sprouting leaves means that people are claiming that they have fruit. These people are saying that they believe in God and Jesus and are good Christians. But when we look a little closer, we see that they don't actually have fruit. They don't have Jesus's love, compassion, peace, kindness, goodness, all of the things that Jesus says his followers have. And when you say you follow Jesus, but don't show you follow Jesus, well, you saw what happened to the fig tree. So I guess the lesson here is don't be like the fig tree. If you say you follow Jesus, put your fruit where your leaves are and act like it. Oh, his word is forever alive. Instead of looking for figs on a tree, why not like this video and subscribe? And if you download the Superbook Bible app, you can look up the enacted parable in the book of Mark. This episode has made me hungry. I want a candy bar. Where's that soda machine? Snack. Yeah, I want a soda machine. Figs. The figs. It's so far away. Heads for the tree. I make it so complicated. Okay, cool. I love figs.